configure and troubleshoot captive portal in FortiGate Firewall step by step. At the end of this video, you'll be in position to configure captive portal in FortiGate Firewall and also know how to verify the captive portal. So captive portal is one of the security feature that is implemented in network infrastructure to help in authenticating users while accessing services in the network. So according to this topology here, this is the LAN. This is LAN 1. So any user within LAN 1, while accessing the internet, it will not be so that direct. He will be redirected to log in to a certain portal to log in by this firewall before he accesses the internet. So this LAN is going to work on this segment. Then I'm going to access this particular FortiGate firewall using this through this segment here. Or I can still use an alternative without this. So this is just going to help me get an IP address from this server to help me access the graphical interface of this file in the browser. So let me configure this file. Already this port here, it is going to work in DHCP. This is going to work in static mode, so that the first IP from this segment is going to be assigned on this. Then port 3 is going to also to work in DHCP, so that the IP it will get automatic from this server here, the GNS 3VM. So you set the password, config system global. Always remember to set the host name. Host name is very key in networking because it helps you to troubleshoot devices easily. Then we configure port 1, edit port 1, set alias, internet, set role, this is one port, set mode, this is DHCP, it will get IP address directly from Google, clear allow access, because I'm not going to access the firewall graphically using that particular port. That's why I'm removing the allow access, the likes of HTTP, all those protocols. So once done, then end. Then let's configure port 2, edit port 2, set mode static, set IP 192.168.1.1/24, set role LAN, set alias LAN 1. So set allow access HTTP ping, that is all. Then we enter to configure port 3. Port 3 is this one. Port 3 is this port. So I'm done with this. So edit port 3, set alias MNG management, then set mode DHCP, set allow access https ssh fgm http telnet then ping, and the moment diagonalize IP address list, you see port 1, I have already received an IP from Google, so I'm able to access the internet from this firewall. Execute ping then 88. You see, I'm able to reach the internet. So the IP address for port 3, it always delays a bit. You see, now I have received it, but initially in this checks it was not there, but here now it has. So I'm using this IP to access the firewall in the browser. What you should understand, let me explain something here. So captive portal is a type of portal that helps users to be authenticated. They are checked, they are verified, especially the application of this, you find it in tokenized Wi-Fi, whereby when you click on an SSID or when you happen to access the internet, you have to log in first. It also applies to a company whereby they authenticate the external people like suppliers or guests, especially in banks. So this is what they do back end for you to realize that what you end through. So in this, I'm now going to create a static route. Then after creating a static route or a default route will just help me to tackle the unknown packets from this LAN will be forwarded to the internet through this port. Another rule, by default, the firewall blocks traffic from this LAN cannot reach the internet. A rule has to be created to allow this LAN to reach the internet. So let me create static route and that particular rule before we move to the captive portal. So static route, you go to the network, then static, then you create this one. It means that all destination, then the gateway, which gateway will it use. So you just 122.1, then you pick the interface. But remember, it can remain this way. Now that we are using the port 1 as DHCP, it is in DHCP mode. We let our gateway address to be dynamic. You see, the interface is this port that is facing the internet. This is the incoming, outgoing. So you have to note that. Once you are done, you come here, you create a rule now allowing this LAN to ping the internet direct, or else it will not. LAN 1 to internet. So incoming interface is the interface that is bringing traffic to that is the LAN interface. And then outgoing is this port 1 of the gateway to the internet. So everything I'm going to allow all, then accept. You leave everything the way it is except here we check all sessions. You see, now I can be able to ping the internet. So to ping the internet, let me Just a minute. Let me enable something DHCP server on the interface, on this LAN interface. I'm going to enable that. Then okay. Once I do that, now I can come here, IP DHCP. The moment you see DORA, it means that the computer is able to access the server. DORA means discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. That is a mechanism through which the client communicates with the DHCP server. So you save, then let's try to ping Google DNS. You see, when we try to ping Google DNS, there is an issue. It's not pinging. So just a minute, we troubleshoot with you. This one is okay. This one is okay. Then the root. It's okay. Can this interface ping its gateway? Ping 192.168.1.1. It's pinging. So let me try to access Google. Google is not accessible. You see what? The moment before you do anything on this, you have to check the way it is. You see, it is in DHCP mode. So we save, we start, we access the terminal. Sometimes when you load it badly, it refuses. So that web term has crashed. So that is up. You see, it has received IP automatic from the firewall. Let me try to ping Google. You see, Google is reachable. So let me configure captive portal. You'll come to user authentication. You create a user, local, you choose local, then James, then password James, enter, then next. There is no user group. We can just add the group here. Captive user member. So what you do, leave alone with the group, then submit. We've created the user, then come on the group. Captive users, then we put James in that port, in that, you see, captive, then it is that way. There is no authentication. Once you are done that, once you've done that, you come to this network, then captive portal is configured on this interface facing the LAN. So you come to this LAN interface port 2, then down here you enable security mode, captive portal, local, restricted, allow all. We put it to restricted to a group. Which group is that? Captive users. Exempt, there is nothing to exempt. Then original, can give it TikTok. Let me try TikTok. So once we've created that, we refresh and then we go to this section. Can we try to access tiktok.com? So you see, now it has worked. When you try to access TikTok, you cannot go to TikTok direct. You have to enter the username and the password that we had created. You have to enter these details here. You have to enter these details, the password and the username, before you access that particular service. So it gives you, it redirects you to a login page within the firewall that you have to enter. You can customize this page. The moment you enter correct details, then continue, you'll be able to access your TikTok. You see? You see, I have accessed TikTok. So that is one way. The internet. Remember, I changed to not specifying any URL. And remember, these details for James were in the FortiGate already. So that's how we configure captive portal in GNS3 using FortiGate firewall. Please feel free to subscribe on YouTube at Netlabs Hub. Watch, comment, like, share. And if maybe you come across, maybe you are stuck of any concept within my tutorials, feel free to leave a question. Thank you.